hard to differentiate a waking brain from a REM brain, except that our bodies don't move. It's a phenomenon called catatonia, where we're not moving when we sleep, thank God. But our eyes are flashing back and forth. That's why it's called REM, rapid eye movement. And that allows for a different kind of processing. It's when we typically experience ourselves as having dreams. And there, the idea is that we are pulling up pockets of information from our past experiences and kind of reorganizing them with the new information that you've taken in during the day. And it's another part that's responsible both for memory consolidation and processing, as well as emotional processing. And some scientists even think it's a part of forgetting. So during the day, we have the important act of remembering things, and then there's other things you want to forget, like you don't want to remember where you parked yesterday because you're going to mix it up with where you parked in the parking lot today. So, there's an active process of curating our memory. And then we go back to waking in the morning and the beautiful, though somewhat more chaotic symphony that occurs in our brain.
And it is a bit of a wonderful symphony when you describe it the way you have, because each position of those waves in terms of their frequency distribution is changing intentionally in a way that's meant to provide different levels of restoration and processing for our brain and our overall health and feeling and sense of well-being. And in fact, one of the things I noticed that was fascinating from my perspective in terms of an advantage to the Muse S sleep tracking was the ability to calculate restoration points based on slow wave intensity. So you have this concept in your app of being able to effectively quantify and add up all of that slow wave activity that's happened, which is in a way equivalent to the amount of restorative sleep we've got overnight. Can you tell us just a little bit about how that math stacks up and why the feeling of being restored or refreshed overnight is related to the total amount of slow wave intensity and slow wave sleep frequencies like you just described, for example, the alpha and the delta waves?
Sure. So in deep sleep, which most of us have heard about, you want to get lots of deep sleep. So deep sleep tends to happen primarily at the beginning of the night, and you ideally want a good quarter of your night's sleep to be deep sleep. And you may have heard that many of us don't get sufficient amounts of deep sleep. So we may be sleeping for 6, 7, 8 hours, but of that amount of time, we're not getting our requisite 2+ hours of deep sleep. And deep sleep is the most restorative sleep in the body and the brain. And as I described that, delta wave symphony that happens where everything's pulsing at once, that's deep sleep. And there are a number of theories of why deep sleep is so restorative. One is that deep sleep triggers the movements of glymph throughout the brain. And glymph is it's kind of like the plumbing. So you might know about lymph in the body that moves fluids throughout. Glymph is the plumbing of the brain, the fluid systems, and it actually allows the pulsing and movement of toxins out through the brain. I know toxins can be a very silly term, but it's been demonstrated that beta amyloid, which is one of the precursors potentially of Alzheimer's disease, has been shown to actually move through and out the brain during deep sleep. So deep sleep is incredibly important and restorative, but many things disrupt our deep sleep. Some is, our disposition as a sleeper. As you age, the amount of deep sleep you get naturally decreases and your deep sleep becomes shallower. And many medications and caffeine can also disrupt deep sleep. So although you're sleeping, you may not be getting the restorative sleep you need. What we do in our deep sleep calculation is we look not only at the amount of time that you're in deep sleep, but actually at the depth of the delta, the amplitude of the delta, the amount of delta that you're getting in that deep sleep. So, and during that N2 stage.